you hear me, and welcome to this edition of Luke Goes Postal because, well, we've got a little something right here special to ship out, a nice little piece of my artwork right there, continuing that on, and, well, continuing on with the successful promotion of this upcoming Naked Guns sequel, and or, well, some people might say remake, but no, the first one, the first trailer that we saw, clearly was addressing that, no, this is one of those things where it's like Halloween 2018, where it's supposed to be a sequel, some kind of legacy sequel, but then at the same time it's just using the same name, so people wind up thinking of it as a remake. Sort of like with that awful 2011 The Thing, where it's just called itself The Thing, making you think it's a remake, but no, it was actually a prequel to the Kurt Russell version. Well, do not be surprised if you see some, in the actual finished movie, some metafictional kind of jokes like that, where it's all about making fun of legacies, and I mean in like a direct, like, you know, that 21 Jump Street movie style of being so self-aware, as opposed to what we have seen in that first trailer and in this new trailer, where it's Liam Neeson and it's his version of George Kennedy as his partner, both of them having the row of the old police squad officers that they're all praying to. And the big joke that the first trailer ended on, yeah, like that kind of self-aware, sort of fourth wall breaking, aren't I so clever meta commentary kind of joke. Yeah, that is what happened with so far I've not had any kind of jokes like that really with these trailers, except for one line in that first teaser. And in this one, this new trailer, they do recycle a lot of what we saw from the first one, with just a few more clips that either give you some other big gag that the movie really wants to hit with the audience, or also maybe explaining the plot. Because that first teaser that mostly focused on this bit, your ass. That's the sound of the police! Yeah, that's giving you probably a good look at what the opening gag will be like, because the previous 3 Naked Gun movies all had some big, if not action set piece, then some kind of big moment that was meant to be one big introducing you to the stupidity and absurdity of the world, but doing it with a completely straight face. Because remember, what made spoof movies of that era work, whether with David Zucker directing, and whether or not it had either Lloyd Bridges or Leslie Nielsen, was getting respectable character actors who could do anything with a straight face and were used to performing very, very seriously, can do something stupid like this and actually make it even more hilarious than it would have already been on its own, because they are taking it so seriously. That's the key to spoof humor, acting like there isn't a joke as opposed to just a pop culture reference, like with Epic Movie, or just explaining a joke like with, you know, the Family Guy on the worst of days. That's why with the gags you've seen in that first one and in the second trailer, Seth MacFarlane being involved in this as a producer, well, I'm guessing maybe it's his clout as a producer that's what got this off the ground, and also is what convinced Liam Neeson to be involved in this. But then you actually have other people who are able to actually bring humor and bring things in that actually involve real constructed jokes, and that's where you have co-writer and director on this, Akiva Schaffer, who, yes, is best known for The Lonely Island, for directing Hot Rod and Pop Star. While Pop Star was really not that funny, Hot Rod was very much, I would say, underrated. I was about probably the only person that wasn't a Saturday Night Live viewer at the time that actually went to see Hot Rod in the theater. And with this, he does seem to understand the jokes about this, about Police Squad in general. Whether it was the Police Squad TV show or the Naked Gun, it's basically doing a ridiculous gag on police procedurals, in particular those kind of old-time shows like Dragnet from back in the 50s or 60s. And on top of that, you have, even at the most insane, at the most bizarre, still somebody acting like it's a serious thing, because the biggest gag that this new trailer has is involving Liam Neeson and some bowel problems.
Oh, I'm gonna ruin another suit.
And besides the interesting little surveillance car camera work right there, it also looks like it's trying to replicate one of the big moments in the first one.
Indeed.
And with a movie like this, I would say that there should at least be some kind of story that it actually focuses on. Not be so plot-driven or plot-obsessed, but at least a actual focused story to hang your jokes onto is what you need for a comedy to actually work. Like the Naked Gun movie, with the whole trilogy, with its first one having it all be about a assassination plot of the Queen of England that is taken seriously, and then there is a proto on-the-nose environmentalist message with all of the oil and nuclear power companies trying to stop a environmentalist from implementing a big speech about how the importance of solar panels are going to put them all out of business. And then there's the third film with its terrorist attack on the Oscars. And those moments there, they are a good setup for the jokes, as opposed to what you get with, you know, like I said, Meet the Spartans or something, where they really don't give a crap about the story and it really does not matter because, well, we don't give a shit. Yes, comedy requires giving a shit and actually setting up the joke and performing the punchline and all that. And Liam Neeson as the Frank Drebin, that's the guy who definitely is perfectly cast for this. What I said before about having such a ridiculous premise being performed like this, you need the most self-serious actor of the last few decades to go and do a role like this. You would need somebody of equal or greater value of self-seriousness than Leslie Nielsen had for the decades of acting before he first did Airplane, and then that was the inroads for him to do Police Squad and the Naked Gun trilogy. That's just basically how this always has worked, and well, he understands this. He seems to have the ability to go and do these kind of jokes, but not being too self-aware about it. Like I said, that sort of self-awareness, that smirky fourth wall breaking has completely ruined ever since, I would say, the 90s or so. Once Joss Whedon got big, that look how self-aware and how clever I am, when really all it is just a self-reflexive little defense for how you can't really come up with anything on your own, so you have to constantly remind people of all these other things you've seen or done. Which, yeah, that's not really telling everybody what it is you've seen or know or are aware of out there doesn't really get the audience to laugh, which is what this comedy is for. And, well, for this case, and since we finally have a plot to be thought of in this, which is a film noir style murder mystery where Pam Anderson's part finally gets revealed in this second trailer, where you see her hiring Nielsen to go on and look for the man that I think was the murder of her brother. And when you look at this murder plot, you see, okay, it's got that sort of private investigator Philip Marlowe kind of story, which, well, yeah, even though those kind of stories involve, you know, private investigators, not cops, but hey, there probably will be some kind of gag around that, since, remember, this is the same trailer that has gags of turning Police Squad into the spirit of Halloween. So yes, an internet meme has now become a gag in a big budget Hollywood comedy. But one that looks like, well, this August, we're actually going to be having a good time with this, and that's not my opinion. I know I'm right. So I want to thank you for watching. Subscribe so the channel will hit 10,000 subs. Become a member today and shop in the art store with the second link below, where you can buy my art, or you can commission me, or you can support me directly with a donation. So until then, felines, slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.